Hello to all our lovely Patreon backers. Welcome to a bonus episode, your bonus episode, the episode we give to you from the center of our hearts. Welcome to a bonus episode of Flawless the Music Podcast. My name is Liam and I'm here with George.
Hello.
And Grant.
Hi there, patrons.
You say here with, but we're not actually here with you.
We're
are
not.
you? We are all in our respective homes.
Yes, we are all isolating like good people.
Correct. We are responsible and keeping everyone safe, but entertained.
Yes.
Yes.
We can be two things. So this bonus episode is going to be a homework episode where I set George and Grant and our Patreon listeners a bit of a homework to go away and have a listen to a song that is related to one of our previous episodes. So last year, last year I nominated the Decemberists Hazards of Love as a flawless album. We got that across the line. So today, I want to talk about another song from an earlier record, and it's called The Mariner's Revenge Song.
We are two mariners, our ship's sole survivors, in this belly of a whale. Its ribs are ceiling beams, its guts are carpeting. I guess we have some time to kill. You may not remember me, I was a child of 3, and you a lad of 18. But I remember you, and I will relate to you how our history's in a weave.
So the reason I've nominated this song is that we talked in the episode about how the whole album was one big story, and this song is another big story, possibly a bigger story, because it's a story of an entire lifetime. And we talked also about how it was a sea shanty, and this is a sea shanty as well. So it's a big nautical ballad. Was from their 2005 album Picaresque. So George and Grant, George first maybe. When I sent you the link to the song, did you have a listen, and how did you find it?
I have heard it before.
Right.
I hadn't.
So when
Which
you
is
sent
not
it
unusual.
to me, so Grant hadn't heard it, and I, as you know, I had already heard the Decemberists when we did our last recording. So when you sent it to me, I was like, oh yeah, I know this song. So I went, I will listen to this song. So how did I find it? I found it exactly like a Decemberist song, like a very long December. It sounds exactly like the Decemberists. It's 8 minutes 46, I think, and it is an entire story in one song, as you say, and it sounds exactly like a Decemberist song. With lots of instruments, an entire story, and it got the whole band playing different characters and going along and doing some kind of like epic journey in some fantastical and like weird way, and that is exactly what they did. So
And it's got the na-na-na-na-nas.
yeah, it does. It's got all sorts. It's got all sorts of bits and bobs in it that I enjoy. So it's got all sorts of extra instruments like mandolins, double bass, like adding the floor toms and multi vocals, a 12-string guitar, an accordion, violin.
The accordion is so good; like it really makes the part of the sea shanty part of the song.
Yeah. So how about you, Grant? It was your
Never
first
heard
listen.
it before. Yeah, never heard it before. Great track, I think. I suppose it's credit to Decemberists for already having a flawless album across the line. Great opening, epic. It is an epic, of course. The ghost and the na-na-na-nas and closing, and so from Woe to Go, it's for me. It really, I thought it was a great song. So,
So it starts off with two survivors stranded in the belly of a whale, and one of them starts to tell the story to the other one, and it turns out that the narrator, when he was very young, his father passed away, and his widowed mother falls in love with another man, using the great terms that he always loved, a rake and a roustabout.
At the time you were a rake and a roustabout, spending all your money on boys and hounds.
loves rakes, doesn't he?
He does love rakes. We counted rakes in the Hazards of Love as well, but
Yes.
I think roustabout might even be better. I do love a good roustabout. I think I can picture a rake. I just don't know what a roustabout actually is.
I like a rug tug kind of guy. I think more of a burly one. A rake I think of as tall and slender whereas I think of more of a burly roustabout kind of person.
Mm-hmm. So the roustabout moves in, spends all the money, and then bit of a womanizer, and then leaves again. So the narrator's mother dies in poverty, and before she dies, she gives him an oath to carry out. So she says,
Find him, tie him to a pole and break his fingers to splinters, turn into a hole until he wakes up naked, crying at the ceiling of his grave.
so break all his fingers and then bury him alive so that he doesn't have even the fingers to scratch his way out.
So, as far as passing words go, that's not usually what you hear from a dying mother. It's usually I love you, and I've always been so proud of you, and everything else. But instead, it's just you must avenge me.
It's revenge. It's all about that revenge.
Yeah.
So then he goes and lives on the streets, and then 15 years later, he gets a job cleaning a priory, which is where priests and various religious people live. Mm-hmm. And then one day, while he's cleaning that, he hears a whaler talking about a guy who matches the description of our rake and our roustabout, a whaler captain. And then he joins a privateer ship to hunt him down. And then, I say coincidentally, I mean, I guess it would be pretty lucky to actually encounter that person ever again. But after 20 months at sea, he does find him. So just before this bit, the lyrics sort of pause here. And the whole song's been in a 4/4 tempo. And then it just pauses here and just does a 3/4 tempo just for a short little bit, which helps you with the swaying of the ocean. Is a very sort of sea shanty, different sort of tempo style. And then, 20 months at sea, spots the whaling ship. Just as he's I was getting my muskets cleaned, and just as he's about to shoot this guy, a giant whale attacks both ships. Everybody on board both ships is killed, except for the narrator and the rake. And then the narrator goes, "Yep, you're the guy," and basically kills the rake. He says, cautions him to listen closely to the last words he'll hear, but then doesn't actually say the words. So he said the words twice earlier in the song. But this is where we tie it back in as well to an auditory motif for a play. So when you've got a certain character on stage, you have a certain piece of music, or you play a certain piece of music to let everybody know that character's coming on. And in this case, he doesn't sing the words again, his mother's words, but they play out the song using that melody. So it's almost like she's there haunting him and doing the killing herself, but they don't actually have to say the words.
But it's all implied.
It's all that's right, yeah. Yeah, so it's just using that music as a motif style thing rather than necessarily repeating the words again. Mm-hmm. So it does have, you mentioned the instruments before, so Chris Funk is on mandolin, Nate Query on the stand-up and bowed bass, and then Colin doing his vocals and guitar, a floor tom, so not using the full guitar, and then Jenny on accordion. And then I also sent you through a video of them performing it live. Did you get a chance to have a look at that?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
I did see the video, yes, because they're known for performing this live and then having they bring a whale prop onto the stage, so people are encouraged to shout, "Look, a whale!" and sing along, scream. What's it? They're asked. The audience are asked to scream like you're being swallowed by a whale. During the song, so that's what they do when they play live now, which is pretty cool. Get everyone involved.
I've seen them do it a couple of times. They usually play it last, and they open it with, so when you see a whale, don't forget to scream as if you're being swallowed by a whale, and that's when it sort of comes on from the side of stage, which is always really fun.
I've got to watch that clip. I'm not sure where it got lost, but anyway.
Yeah.
Do it. It's adorable. They appear to, I've never actually seen them, but they seem to put on full like Gilbert and Sullivan operettas, it's as opposed to a gig. So there's someone definitely to see live.
Yeah, no, it's a really cool song, and it's obviously a nice big stretched out version when they do it live, and there's lots of swaying back and forth. And in the video, you'll see it at the end, because at the end of the song, it picks up and the tempo just increases with each set of beats. And in the live version, they keep getting faster and faster. It gets crazy fast. But you can see when they're sort of doing a nice tempo, there's almost like a jumping mosh pit in the crowd. And I was like, the kind of thing you would never expect to see at a Decemberist show is any kind of like combined dancing or jumping or anything. But this one, it just manages to hit, and they're doing it up on stage, so it's easy for people to pick up the timing.
And when they recorded it, did you know that they recorded it in a really interesting way? Did you
I
know
did,
this?
yes, but you can tell everybody.
I was just going to say, they recorded it around a single mic in the studio. So what they would do is they would step forward for their bits, and they'd have to control the volume of their own instruments during their parts whilst they were playing them. So they would have to do that themselves as they stepped forward in towards the mic, and they would take it in turns. When it was their turn to go and sing or their turn to go and play something, they would have to go around a single microphone, and they did it all in one take, which is nuts. Which is just, it's like they're like, hey, this was their third record, I think. And it's like they were already like, oh, how can we push ourselves even further and make things even more complicated?
It's like we've got this really complex 9-minute song we're going to have to do. How can we make it more difficult for ourselves?
Yeah, let's record it in one take, multi-instruments, and we're all going to have to control our own individual instrumental volumes whilst we're doing it, because otherwise the mic will pick it up in a different way.
It's amazing, isn't it?
They're just bonkers, which is great. But also, what's fun is this album came out just as I was going on my holiday with, it was like me, my old couple that I was in, and two other couples. We all went on holiday together in a holiday cottage just to hang out, listen to music and play puzzles and stuff for a week, because we're so cool in our 20s. And this album came out around just as we went on one of these holidays, and so it was the album that was the soundtrack to our holidays.
Nice.
So it was just like, so when you sent it to me, I was like, I know this one. You know, hands up, I'm a good girl. Like, do I win a prize?
You've done it.
Yeah. So which is really fun. But I actually haven't listened to it like probably since that holiday, because somebody else owned the CD. So it was just it's really cool. It's a really cool one to pick up on. So did you choose this one because it was also another story? Like epic story, but in one song. So I think
it's got a real connection to Hazards of Love in that it is that story, and almost a fairy tale story as well, where at the end, like obviously they both die. The narrator and the rake both die because they're in the belly of a whale. But so the narrator gets a victory, quote unquote victory, but he still dies. So it's more of a Pyrrhic victory, but which is tied into that whole fairy tale stuff that I talked about with the album as well, where fairy tales don't have happy endings. They usually have bad endings. So this one had kind of good, but then kind of neutral, a Pyrrhic victory as it was.
I'm a sucker for a Pyrrhic victory, so that's my life all over.
And this album, Liam, you don't reckon would have been flawless?
Not the whole album. I really like it, and it was the first album that I got from Decemberists, and I do really like it. It's got some great songs on it. Not the whole album being flawless, but this song, it shows up in my Spotify stuff all the time because I listen to it, and I listen to it in full every time, which means Spotify keeps bringing it back. So,
cool.
And there's some cool animated YouTube videos as well where people have like drawn like comics and sort of graphic design stuff to the song.
That is so good.
Showing the pieces as it happens, which is really cool as well. So.
Because I was going to say, the lyrics of Decemberist songs generally follow stories and stuff, and they're like really interesting and they're fantastical, as we've talked about. But are they in a storybook anywhere? Like, has somebody illustrated Decemberist lyrics? Because if they haven't, there's a real market. I feel like you could just go through all their albums and pick out a song or pick out the entire Hazard of Love, and you could turn it into a storybook, and you could like soften it if you wanted to and turn it into a kid's book, and it could be like the Decemberists are presenting to you the bedtime story for your kids or whatever. Like I just think it'd be, or like really good like comic books for like grown-ups like us. I think it would just be, it would work really well. So if that hasn't happened, if I'm just, or then I'm pitching out there that people should do that. Like it should be a thing.
I haven't heard of that happening, but I do know Colin Malloy has written like fairy tale books. I'm not sure if they're aimed at kids or adults. That's the only thing. But he has written like completely separate to his music. He's written, the kind of books you would expect him to write as a side thing.
That's cool. Oh, good for them. Well, thank you for bringing this
Thank
song.
you for bringing it.
That's all good, not a problem at all. I thought, really cool little song, very closely tied to the stuff, and almost like a bit of a precursor to then what grew into Hazards of Love, so to speak. So
Yes.
That makes sense.
cool.
Great.
Alrighty.
Thanks for bringing it.
Thank you for having a listen, and thank you to all our Patreon supporters. We love you. We love each and every one of you.
Yeah,
Even
we
if
do.
you
Kiss,
aren't a
kiss,
supporter
kiss.
right now, but you've become one in the future, and you've gotten access to this episode because of that. So thank you very much, everybody, for listening, and we will see you next time.
Hello to our beautiful Patreon backers. This is a flawless special bonus episode where it is my turn to say, what are our one-hit wonders? Now, the one-hit wonder I am proposing is by Norwegian 80s synth pop fun times, Aha, with Take On Me from 1985.
Talking away. I don't know what to say. I'll say it anyway.
Now, firstly, have you boys heard this song before?
Yes, definitely.
Yes, of course I've heard this song before.
And have you seen the music video?
Yes.
Yes, of course I've seen the video.
And have you heard anything else by Aha?
Yes, I've been to an Aha concert. Which is why I'm extremely offended by such a claim.
Oh
I
my
cannot-
Scandalous claim.
Scandalous is like an understatement. How could you possibly say that Aha is a one-hit wonder? Off the drop of a hat, I could name you additional songs.
Do it.
Take On Me, Cry Wolf, Living Daylights.
Living
Moved
Daylight.
to... Yeah?
Isn't that Depeche
Oh, no,
Mode?
that was Duran Duran, forgive me.
Duran Duran.
That is- but anyway,
So
there
you
are
name
plenty.
one. You name one other song.
Like Cry Wolf?
You went to an Aha concert.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is
Yeah,
new
it's,
information.
Well, this is
Suncorp-
why I was
Stadium?
devastated. No, they wouldn't say that. Suncorp. Okay, let's be clear. They wouldn't do Suncorp. It would have been the last, like just before COVID hit us in March 2.5 years ago. They played at Surrey, and I went
Oh, winery, yep.
at Surrey Winery, which is just south of Brisbane.
Fucking nowhere, yep.
Yeah, no man's land.
Yeah.
And so they've got it's not the Living Daylights. There's another one that is a Bond one as well. But forgive me, they've got a couple of tracks that they're not just one-hit wonders. Okay. However, ask me about the concert. It's a different story. We can talk about that after you go.
So wait, hold on. Is Morten Harkel, the singer, still dreamy?
Very, very.
Because this was 1985, the year I was born. So, forgive me, that's 37 years ago.
He was incredibly in incredibly good nick. He was not afraid to like leer at all the women that he could. So he was very conscious that he's still hunting high and low. The Living Daylights. It wasn't Living Daylights.
Was it?
Stay on these roads, crying in the rain. Move to Memphis, guys. There are lots of tracks. I promise you.
Liam, have you
Yes.
heard of any of those songs?
I mean, I'd heard of the Living
The sun
Daylights.
always
but
shines on
that-
TV.
So that's the one I was going to talk about because that one was the second single off the album, and that one charted better than Take On Me in the UK.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Take On Me only got to number 2. The Sun Always Shines on TV got to number 1 in
But
the
that's
UK.
because The Power of Love was number 1.
Yeah.
Hey,
And-
what's wrong with you, Lewis, and the news?
But I will say, for as much as it charted better in the moment, Enduring, Take On Me obviously
Enduring,
is much higher
Take On
than,
Me.
Yeah.
Yeah, if
and it's
people
copied
say,
by The Weeknd.
if people say aha, they say Take On Me.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
that's why I put it as a one-hit wonder. However, I didn't
Right,
expect to
Grant
lose.
was going to
I lost
have an
his-
embolism.
He lost his shit, dude. He
Oh,
lost his
I
shit.
am. I mean, like, I remember in 1992, I stand to be corrected, at high school, my first year, they had a greatest hits. You don't just have a greatest hits if you don't have any songs. And you come and you say it's the only track that they know. Come on.
Well, I'm so sorry.
That's the only song I know.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Thank you. So yeah, it was in the UK number 2 for 3 weeks, but it was on like MTV for years.
Yes.
And it was on the US Billboard chart number 1 for 27 weeks.
But you knew The Living Daylights. I mean, sorry to interrupt.
But I thought it was a Duran Duran song.
No, but that's another one that's similar.
So it's cheesy.
I acknowledge that.
Oh.
But we didn't pitch cheesy songs.
No.
We pitched one hits.
And it's sexy. And it's cool.
Yeah.
Nice video.
The chorus is funny because it's like, Take On Me, I'll be gone. And he's ratcheting up the emotion. And then the final line is in a day or two.
Yeah.
I'll be gone in a day or two. No one asked when. Like the way he sings it, it feels like it should be like the emotional crux of an entire song.
But they had to release this song 3 times before it charted.
Yes.
So they charted it, they released it in 84 and it didn't chart anywhere. They released it again in 85 and they didn't do it anywhere. Then they released it with the updated video in 85 and that's when it became the hit that we know today with the classic video that we know today, which is half comic book and half real life, which is awesome, with him being a swoonable guy with, quite frankly, a plain looking woman, in my opinion.
In
But
your discerning opinion.
in my opinion, because I was growing when I got MTV when I was 8, and I saw that music video, I was like, "Who's he? That's awesome!" So yeah, and then I was like, "Well, I've heard nothing else by this band, so they are a one-hit wonder, apparently." Sorry, Grant, but I did say Spotify have listened to other tracks, but they are known for this one. They are an iconic piece of 1980s history, including karaoke.
Can I stop you? Yes.
You go.
I'm passionate about this one.
I love this.
So, okay, because I was there, I ought to know. There was a lot of hype coming out of South Africa at the time because these guys were doing that AHA toured there first, and I read up and it's like, oh, they were great, all the rest of it. Magnus, or whatever his name is, Magna, was a bitter disappointment. He was rude to his support staff the whole time. He had like earpiece issues, and he's like mouthing and waving, like a real rude, abrasive, couldn't care less prick. I really felt like it was a money grab from a show perspective, which I haven't actually felt like in almost any other of the concerts I've ever been to. And we want to talk about one-hit wonders, and who was an amazing showman and incredibly professional. I smile even thinking about it. Rick Astley opened before them.
Nice.
And he was absolutely awesome. He gave it his all. He had to, of course, close with Never Gonna Give You Up. And there was a one-hit wonder potentially. But there you go. Thank you.
So, Grant, I'm very sorry that I chose a one-hit wonder of a band that you
It's not a one-hit wonder.
that you recently saw a full set of, which I did not know people did. So
There were lots of people.
I am judging you in many ways right now, but there we go.
I'm deep on many levels.
So-
you didn't know this. This is
You are so fucking deep. You're so complicated. I don't
like an onion,
understand
like an
you.
onion.
You're the bands you propose as flawless compared to I went to see Aha is like dichotomy. You're fucking weird.
Thank you. It's taken you 4 years for this
For
to
this.
come out.
Yeah, a little bit.
So I've deceived you.
Yeah, I thought you just liked Led Zeppelin. So anyway, you nominated.
Hang on, before we go there, you
Oh,
mentioned,
yeah.
you mentioned karaoke.
Yeah.
You haven't sung it.
I sung this song.
You
karaoke.
have
You
not.
sang it for karaoke.
That's
Do
disgusting.
you want to know why?
You were paid?
Yeah.
No.
Someone paid you.
I hadn't heard it. I'd heard the Real Big Fish cover. I love the Real Big Fish cover. I think
I've
it's one of
never
their
heard the
best
Real Big
songs.
Fish.
It's awesome. It's perfect
It's
because
so good.
there's a synth note. You just grab that note, that line, and you play that note on the trumpets, and the guitar parts stay the same. It's really fucking good. And I'd never heard the original, but I saw it in the list of songs, and I was like, I knew it wasn't the Real Big Fish version, but I was like, I just hope that it's close to the Real Big Fish version, and I'll sing that.
No, I need to listen to that one.
So
Oh my god!
sung
Now
it.
I need to go to karaoke with Liam.
I wouldn't do it again. That I couldn't have as I've learned now that I know the original.
As
That
I've
would be
learnt.
that's so high. I'm never gonna. I don't know what I was thinking.
Just
trying
drop
to
it
do
and
it.
register.
No, I can't do that. I don't even. That's bad at how bad at karaoke and singing I am.
Oh my god! I'm
So,
so.
yeah.
I
But
love.
I did this song on karaoke, hoping it was like the Real Big Fish version, and finding out while I was up on stage that of course it wasn't.
Okay.
In one of my very rare times I attended karaoke.
Well, right now I am really enamored by Liam, and I'm really disappointed in Grant.
No.
So there
Oh,
you go. But we all brought a one-hit wonder, and let's see if anyone else can fuck it up.
Well, may I go next?
Yes,
I'll give you a
please.
true one-hit wonder. What's Up by 4 Non-Blondes.
Into a crisis, times when I'm lying in bed just to get it all out what's in my head. And I am feeling a little peculiar. And so I wake in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath and I get real high and I scream from the top of my lungs, what's going on? And I say, hey, yeah, yeah.
What's going on, isn't it?
Yep.
No, it's what's up.
What's Up?
Up?
Grant
But-
wrote in the document what's going
Oh,
on.
right. That's what I wrote. I was just like, oh, blindly copying. I said, hey,
Yes.
what's going on?
Correct.
Yes. So they never say the line "What's up" in the song.
Yeah. And it's 3 chords to glory,
Yeah.
not even 4.
Yeah.
Okay. And I can play this one on guitar too.
And they legit weren't blondes.
They weren't.
Yeah. No. Name was you couldn't be. You couldn't go. We're going to be called the 4 Non-Blondes, and one band member's like, but I'm blonde.
She's just like dyeing her hair every week. Just like, sure, this is
Well,
fine.
I
change
mean,
the roots.
maybe one of them was blonde and dyeing it every week, but you couldn't have a blonde band member if you
But
were
the
going to be
lead
4 Non-Blondes.
singer, whose name I don't know, had blonde streaks in her kind of weird dreaded hair.
Something Perry,
Yes.
There you go.
And
So,
Linda
for-
Perry.
Linda Perry.
There you go. So I absolutely loved this growing up.
Yeah. So how do you hear it, Grant? Tell us the one, or you're just going like it was on the radio and now
yeah,
they're gone.
it was on the radio, and
Fair.
you know, I would have watched the video, and it is now I'm blonde, and it's dreadlocked hair, and it's 3 chords, great catchy tune, and then fizzled. Like there's nothing more.
Yeah.
So I got number 14 on the US Billboard Hot 100,
Cool.
and it peaked in many other countries. Well, done, but we
Nice.
all have heard it.
Yeah.
And I looked. I didn't see anything else or listen to anything else that was even close to it.
Oh,
From a hit.
do you say, yay?
Yeah, exactly. It's a nice. I've actually. Oh, can I tell you? Here we go. If Sarah Clemence is listening to this and is a patron, I've played this live with Sarah at a concert at Pres Care where we used to work together. She played the ukulele, I played the guitar. We sang it together with a reverend, I think. So thank you,
Nice.
Sarah. I've played it live. There you go.
Cool.
Well, she doesn't, but I will play it for her
Please.
because we're friends. And
Yes.
that's how we know each other.
Correct. So there we go. Liam.
Just quickly before that, it was a song from like well before that. What was the name? Sorry, Perry.
Linda Perry.
Linda Perry had it was in her catalog way before the 4 Non-Blondes actually formed.
Okay.
During the time when the two of them were struggling musicians in San Francisco, Third Eye Blind frontman Stephen Jenkins recalled sitting in a room with Perry, who was working as a waitress down the street, and performing compositions to one another. And they played each other early versions of Semi-Charmed Life.
No,
and What's
stop
Up.
it.
both of which would become massive hits. It would be decades later that Jenkins' Riser songs performed in that private session would sell a combined 17 million records.
That's
So
cool.
yeah, I assume so, which makes me think there must have been a Four Non Blondes album. Like it's too big for some label not to have picked up and gone, "Hey, we'll put something out." But
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, the Bigger, Better, Faster, More was their album.
okay, sweet,
So
cool.
But nothing else charted, really,
no,
that we know of.
no, that's Dear Mr. President in '92, What's Up in '93, Spaceman '93 in terms of singles from them. So there we go. But that was an interesting one. Well done for finding that.
Yeah, I think
Wow.
it was cool. Okay, my turn. For my choice, I struggled because I'm
You struggled so
I
hard.
did struggle because what happens with me, first of all, I don't pay attention to what songs chart, so it's hard for me to know whether stuff charts or not. But also, what happens for me a lot is like when I hear a really good song that I really love, and then most people just go, well, that's a one-hit wonder, is I actually do a deep dive on the band and end up really liking a lot of their stuff. So
And then you follow them around on tour.
yeah,
and
so
you
there's
write
a
about
couple
them.
there's a couple of albums on my shortlist that we'll be talking about coming up from bands that are like everyone thinks of them as one hit wonders, and I'm like, actually no, this album that they did 10 years later was actually perfect note flawless. So yeah, it was hard for me to find one, but then I landed on one. I don't remember how I found it. I think I was even just googling like lists of one hit wonders and all that sort of stuff, and I saw this one. I was like, that's cool. So my nomination of the best one hit wonder is OMC's How Bizarre.
Destination unknown as we're pulling for some gas. Officially placed a poster reveals a smile from the pack. Elephants and acrobats, lion, snakes, monkey. Billy speaks righteous, Sister Cena says funky. How bizarre! How bizarre! How bizarre!
Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. It's making me crazy. It's making me crazy. Every time.
What a great track.
Which everyone will know. New Zealand group OMC, which stands for Otaroa Motorcycle Club, released in December 95 as the lead single from their only album of the same name, How Bizarre. Went to top of the charts in Australia, Austria, Canada, Ireland, and New Zealand. So they only ever released one album. They only ever released one single from that album. That single destroyed the world, and then they just disappeared.
It was
They were
such
done.
an earworm.
Such an earworm. So
Oh, my word.
it's like part hip hop, part funk song. It's got like mariachi trumpets all the way through it. It's so cool.
I actually wrote ... Thanks, Liam.
Yeah.
When you put this one down. So I didn't actually know they were from New Zealand.
I knew that before. Yeah.
Well, I had no idea. So that was news to me. And then when I found out their name was Ottawa, they said that it was because Ottawa is one of the poorest suburbs in Auckland. And that's why they named themselves that.
Yeah,
so,
it's a Maori
yeah.
name. Yeah.
But yeah, so it was a huge hit in the UK.
Won the award. Oh, okay, cool. So in New Zealand, it won the award for Single of the Year at 96 New Zealand Music Awards. Nature's Best 2, I don't know what that is, as the 34th greatest New Zealand song of all time, as voted for members of the Australasian Performing Rights Association.
So they charted again in New Zealand, but never again internationally.
Right.
Whereas
Okay.
OMC, How Bizarre, was absolutely all over the radio waves in the UK, and I couldn't get away from it, and I wanted it to die. So
Nice.
that's why I'm like,
wanted
thanks,
it to
Liam.
die.
It was literally, and because it's so,
No, it's a huge song in
so
South Africa too.
fucking
Huge.
catchy.
Yeah.
Huge.
Oh
Great
my
track.
It's got a cool like male-female duet, like a nice energy to it as well. Like that's
yeah.
really cool.
And the trumpet's cool. Man.
Yeah.
It's
I've
nice.
even got the ooh baby
Yeah.
in my head.
Yeah.
Now playing the whole song is playing in my head.
So the other cool thing that happened last year was that there was a resurgence of the song's popularity when TikTok picked it up.
Really?
Because you can do something like the song's
Shorts.
playing and something weird happens in the video, and then one of the people in the video goes, "How bizarre!" in time with the song. So over 100,000 videos incorporated the song's lyrics into the videos, showing awkward conversations and strange coincidences. The How Bizarre hashtag generated more than 1.4 billion views.
No way.
So
Do they get
it blew
comms?
up
There must
again.
be some commission on that, eh?
Because they are actually licensed. TikTok does license the music if you use the official versions of stuff. So,
Right.
but whether or not, I don't know what the writing and the performing credits get out of that. But yeah,
That's
Cool.
So it blew up
amazing.
as well. So
It's a great one-hit wonder. I
it's
mean,
a
that
great
is a
one
big
hit
one.
wonder, yes.
Unlike Aha, which had huge hits elsewhere.
So for this episode of Patreon supporters, we have 2 one-hit wonders and 1 fail. So thanks for that, and I hope you've
We're not
enjoyed.
scoring on the bonus episodes.
No,
It's fine.
no, there's no scoring. Correct.
No.
No,
But thanks for the conversation. I must say, it was never my intention to disappoint you.
no,
Okay?
you
And I feel
have.
like
You've intrigued me more than anything.
okay.
The fact that anybody in this day and age went, I'm going to go and see Aha play.
and opened by Rick Astley, mind you.
Open by Rick Astley as well. Like,
Yes.
like who chooses that earworm either? So
I can't believe I didn't say
That was
Rick
on my
Astley.
that was on my
Was it
short
really?
list. Yeah, because Mum had the album when I was a kid growing up. So it's a one hit wonder because everyone knows it for the meme. But the album it's on has like 4 singles and is like it's all
Yeah,
really good.
and his
like
other tracks were
it was
good.
super popular. Yeah,
Like, honestly, he was good. Rick,
Yeah.
if you're listening, bud, you were good that day.
He is a ginger prince.
Oh, he's a
And an
nice
awesome-
guy.
and an
He's
awesome
such
person
a
as far as I
cool
can tell
guy.
as
Yeah.
well. So, yeah.
Super,
Anyway.
super nice guy.
There you go. Well, thanks everyone for listening. This has been a flawless Patreon podcast. So thanks for supporting us.
Thank
and
you.
share the word.
Hello, patrons. Thank you for being awesome. It is much appreciated. It's my round in this series to nominate a song or a theme. Probably be
topic
better to
or a
say
theme,
topic
yep.
or a theme. And I have, for my sins, said a piano song, please, that is a firm favourite for the hosts here tonight. So, shall I start with mine? Or shall
Yeah.
I
No,
I'll
you're up.
start with
Yep.
mine.
Start with
Okay.
yours.
So my piano song is Silver Thunderbird by Mark Conn, and that's off his self-titled album.
Mm-hmm.
Watched it coming up Winslow down South Park Boulevard. It was looking good from tail to hood. Great big fins and painted steel. Man, it looked just like the Batmobile.
Yeah, what can I say? It's just a fantastic flipping song. I absolutely love it. It's probably Mark Conn's probably more famous for Walking in Memphis, which is horrendously covered by Cher in 96, 97.
I was going to mention that.
Well, yes. You nominated that song for one of our previous bonus episodes, and you also talked about how horrendous
Did I
the
really?
cover
Well,
was.
this is
back
the problem
then,
is I drink too much sometimes when I come here. That's why I don't drink as much anymore, because it's a problem. I forget about this stuff. So, yes. Thoughts?
Is it on the album? Because the note I had was that it was actually like a non-album track.
Really?
So it's not even. So you should have a section there on track list.
Let me go
But
to
yeah,
tracklist.
it's cool. It's like a song from a son talking to his dad, who he probably doesn't spend as much time with as he'd like to. But dad insists that if there's a God in heaven, he's got a silver thunderbird.
No, song number 3.
So weird. It was on there. Okay, cool. Maybe they meant like non. It wasn't released as a single. I don't.
No, it wasn't released in a single. I think
Yeah.
the only one was Walking in Memphis.
Yeah.
Of that.
So how did you
album.
come across this song, Grant?
Well, these are the questions again. I'm like, well, how can I bring up songs and I forget they've even brought them up before? And
Why did we invite you on the podcast if you can't remember how you learned
exactly.
the song?
I can say that from memory, I did know of Walking in Memphis first, and then I would have been the early 2000s. Now this album was released in 91. Someone would have had a disc or an MP3 player that had it on someone's car when I was driving around somewhere, and it's got such a nice introduction. And again, this guy talks about watch it coming up Winslow down South Park Boulevard. It was looking good from tail to hood. Great big fins and painted steel made it look just like the Batmobile.
Nice.
And
That was like verbatim.
Yeah.
as
Yeah,
well.
Yeah,
you
it's-
didn't read.
Looking at
You
lyrics.
didn't read that. That
no,
was no notes.
thank you. Forgive me for not having more notes, but I know the song pretty well.
Yeah.
And so I would have heard it on someone, I think her name is Simone Becker. Simone, if you're out there, if you're a patron, this one's for you. and probably references to the dad, son, and my and a car. So my my story or elements of my story, and it's just I find it an uplifting song and a bit sad. So that's why I chose that one.
I wrote down, I don't know Mark Conn, but I feel like he has a lot of songs about his dad.
Yeah, he might do.
You can probably, I don't know if you know his catalogue a bit more.
He might. Look, I've certainly got this as potentially being a flawless album to give our Patreon backers an inside scoop, but I haven't listened to it enough of the other tracks to say there is a lot more of the dad stuff or dad references.
Well, I wrote down it was Billy Joel piano with Bruce Springsteen voice.
Ah,
Yep.
cool.
That's kind of how I heard it. And I was like, that's nice. And then I got down the Walking in Memphis route and went, oh my God, that's how I know this guy. And then I was just like, and then Cher. And then so I was like, of course, this is the Cher thing. Yeah, but it was a really pretty song. So I was really glad that you brought it forward. And obviously being piano led, I can see why you chose piano as your
The topic?
Topic of choice.
Any particular reason for that topic, or just something that...
No, literally, I just thought, hey, you know what?
Yeah.
Piano song. Let's do it.
Cool.
Done. Easy. Liam.
Over to me. So
sure.
I'm nominating a band, an Australian band called Epicure, and their song called Main Street.
Kick your heels down Main Street again. Can you feel the grip pulling at your feet, my friend? And cut your tears loose, they're no use anymore. You know you're gonna hit the ground the second you hit the floor.
Off their album.
Off the album Main Street. So it's a centerpiece. It's like the exact middle of the album. It's like track 5 out of 10 or something.
Yeah.
I want to, like, if we hadn't covered Muse in a previous episode, I would have gone with a Muse song because Muse does a lot of piano songs, and they're probably the ones, like, they're the ones that think of it, that jump to mind when I think of piano songs. But I was like, I wanted to try to find something maybe you guys hadn't heard of before and hadn't heard of. So,
It's a great track.
Yeah. So they now defunct, sadly. So Juan Alban is on the vocals, and he does the piano as well. And it kind of it's piano led, so it's got the piano at the start. And it does have it all the way through it, but then I think with the Mark Cohn song, it's mostly piano is like the dominant instrument, whereas this one the piano sometimes fades into the background with the rest of the instruments and then comes back again. But so Epicure, they put out 3 albums or some. They were saying it was 4, but I think some of them was like an EP or something like that. They got some Triple J airplay. I heard them. I've got the album before this and this album, and they're both really good. So we might listen to one of them one day for the podcast.
Sure.
But yeah, just a really beautiful, like, it just, you listen to the album and then it's just like this nice piano through, and it's like, it's just like, it feels like a nice homecoming song. Is like just kicking down Main Street, going for a walk. And then of course it builds up into this, it's got like the gospel choir behind it and the orchestral flourish and all that sort of stuff as well. So yeah.
So you've seen Epicure?
No, I don't think I don't think I've seen them. It's possible I have, and I've just forgotten it, or like I saw them one time, or they supported somebody, and then I didn't see them again. But I don't remember. And they're long since broken up. So Juan Alban does do stuff now on he's got a Facebook page where he puts some stuff out. So I only found that out today, so I'm going to go and check that out.
That's cool.
In the future. So what did you guys think of Main Street?
So I went, never heard of them before, but they are in my wheelhouse. Title track of the album. So they were banned since 1996, but they only brought in keys in 2002. So it was good of you to choose something from 2005 when they had piano, or it would have missed this particular episode.
Most of their songs from this album and before it, not most of them, some of them have piano. I like piano led, and some of them are guitar led. So
yeah, well, I love the big gospel lift at the end of the song. That's really nice.
Yeah,
because there's like it's quite even though there's piano intro, it goes into Americana guitar and vocals, but it's not a typically Australian band,
Mm-hmm.
I'd say.
No.
Like from thinking, like I've worked at 4ZZZ where I've had to listen to a lot of music, and like a lot of Australian music, but Epicure I wouldn't put into that bucket of sounding like an Australian band.
Yeah, not a lot of their stuff sounds a lot like, just like you're right, it's the Americana, and not all their songs do sound like that, but yeah, they don't sound specifically Australian either when they're the rest of their stuff.
Well, to steal from Grant, I'm richer for having listened to Epicure. Because honestly, I thought, wow, this is a new band I want to check out because
Yep.
they have some stuff that I really like. Like this track was a genuinely really enjoyable listen.
It is, absolutely. It actually reminded me quite a bit of Counting Crows, the Americana piece.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And probably after Recovering the Satellites was album with This Laugh or something. I forget what it's called, but it's got Hanging Around on it. But I was like, there is a familiarity about it, which is nice.
So yeah,
Nice song.
this album's good, and the one before, The Goodbye Girl, is probably the one that I would nominate if I was going to nominate one. So that's really good as well. But he's got really cool like little rhyming, little pieces, like little lyric things. So on this album, there's a song called Tightrope Walker, and the main line for the chorus is, "She's a tightrope walker, and he's the streets below."
Oh.
So it's like, yeah, like if she falls, they'll be together. But like, yeah, just really cool
That's cool.
stuff. So
But
yeah,
also,
well worth checking out.
You will be splattered and they will both die.
Yeah, or they'll
Yeah.
both die. I mean,
Yeah.
again, we're going back to this.
I think you're reading too
How
much
you-
into the metaphor. He's not actually he's not in the streets below. He is the streets below.
Oh.
So she can fall, they'll be together, but he'll also be the thing that kills her.
But that's what her interpretation is. No, it's everyone's
bit.
interpretation. Like,
Late 2003, Epicure supported live on their Australian tour.
wow, huh?
That's cool.
Jeez.
No, yeah, on
2003.
their Australian tour. Yeah, so yeah, one of those ones that should have been bigger. Would probably still be around if they'd been bigger, but had to go and do their own thing.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and them's the breaks, eh?
Yeah.
Yo.
Over to you, George.
Yes,
Hello.
and what an intriguing choice, George. Please, over
so
to you.
intriguing.
Yes.
Well, why intriguing?
Because it is you've taken literally piano, and it's literally piano.
Okay, so I'll explain.
Please.
Tell us what you've done. Tell us what you're tagging.
So I've chosen a piece which is now legitimately the oldest piece of flawless music placed into the archives, which is Eric.
So the oldest song ever mentioned on the Flawless podcast. Yep.
Absolutely. So we are now I think I did it with Chet Baker or something like that from the 50s. Now I'm
So glad it's not a competition, though.
Yeah.
So glad.
I'm now taking it back to 1890 to 93, where Eric Satie wrote Nossian number 1. Well, he wrote a series of 1 to 8, but Nossian number 1. It's one of the most solemn, beautiful, optimistic pieces of music I've ever heard in my entire life. And it is a single piano piece, and he wrote it in free time. And free time means no time signatures or divisions.
Yeah.
are
So you're
written.
saying free with an F, not 3 with a number 3.
Yeah, free. I'm just, I have a speech impediment.
No, that's all cool. When I heard you say, I thought you said 3 time, and I was like,
No.
I thought I read there was no time, but yeah,
No,
free
free.
time with an
time.
F.
So free, as in there is no time signatures or divisions, as in he was referred to as an impressionist of music. So the title word was Nossian was actually invented by Satie. It does not exist in the French language. The music is hauntingly sparse, yet somehow comforting. The simple, low chords with the right-hand melody into a strong and powerful pulse that invokes love yet despair. It feels like love and Loss and Love coupled together, musician and composer. Satie, 1866 to 1925, went to the Paris Conservatoire, but he never finished. So he played in Montmartre. Montmartre is the artist residence of Paris, and it is where all of the coolest kids hung out, including my partner's great-grandfather, Leon Daviel, who was an artist and sketcher. He was friends with Jean Cocteau, Pablo Picasso, Claude Debussy. My partner is learning to play it on piano. He also wrote a ballet, and the work continues to be played today, and it will be played at both my wedding and my funeral, and no musician plays it the same because it is free time. So that is why I nominated. When you said piano, my heart went straight to Eric Satie, and I brought him to the table. Not my usual choice. But
So I'm gonna have to drop someone's version into the podcast for people to have a quick 20-second listen to, because that's what we'll do. So
yeah, that's
I found a version on Spotify that seemed lots of listens, so it seemed like most people are okay with that version.
awesome. Do that. There are so many. I have approximately 3 CDs of Eric Satie back in the UK that are going to come with me this year, and they all play this particular song in a different time signature.
Wow.
It's awesome. So
Cool.
And you heard this you would have first heard this when you were a younger
I was a
person.
child, and I tried to apply my ballet techniques to it because it was just such a hauntingly beautiful piece. And so I used to write ballet pieces to it and perform them for my family from when I was about 5 years old.
Cool.
So there we go.
Cool.
So,
Easy.
So Grant, you said you weren't expecting this.
Just piano, no.
Because, I could have just put Piano Man by Billy Joel.
No, you couldn't have, because we'd already done a Billy Joel. You wouldn't have done that. We haven't, we've got to be careful, I think, about going back to the same album, or artists and album for that matter.
Yeah.
So you weren't going to do that. But I would have thought you wanted something more like mine. I think mine's in the middle of what I've requested. Yours was there's piano in there, but it's not necessarily like the dominant instrument. And this one is like the total. It's the only instrument.
Yeah. So there's no recorded version. I don't know anything about the history of recording or anything, but there's no recorded version of him playing it.
Not to my knowledge from 1893.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I
Cool.
wouldn't have thought so, no.
No.
No, so
Jeez.
there's just so many people that have covered it. I have it on vinyl record. So I listen to it sometimes, but it's just such a beautiful...
It's a lovely piece. It is really. But again, it's intriguing that you go piano song and
Yeah.
we've got this interpretation. It's cool.
Yeah,
It's nice.
I loved it. As soon as
Yeah.
it's the piano, I was just like,
Look, I mean,
wow.
I didn't want to disappoint you again
Yeah.
tonight, George, or create any more inner turmoil around who is Granty. I mean,
Who is Grant? So anyway,
Cool.
how did you feel when you heard the piece?
Yeah, it was interesting when I read that he created the word for them, and then like you said, that there's no time, so there's no time signature and no bars either. So it's just whatever notes. There's like a huge interpretation of whoever's performing it to decide what notes get grouped together, which is really cool.
I remember the first time I had it on CD, it was like the perfect version. Then I heard someone else's version, and I was just like, no, it's wrong.
Yeah.
Then I heard someone else's, and I was like, no, it's wrong. And then I've had to learn that
Free time's
Satie
free time.
wanted it to be free time. So yeah.
It's interesting that we've got this theme today, at least in the session around, it's how you take it.
Yeah.
It's what, from the earlier sessions, what the music is what is how you feel it is. Whether it's, what my intention was as the writer or the creator is irrelevant now. It's how you choose to, and again, it's certainly playing it even, which adds another variable to it. Wow, it's been confusing, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm really trying to sleep tonight going, what? Oh,
Thanks for choosing it
concepts.
though, Grant.
Yeah.
sure.
Nice
Thank
choice.
you. And thanks to all of you patrons. I hope you got some value out of that one. And Please feel free to get hold of us.
Leave a comment below in the Patreon to tell us your favorite piano songs and where we can check them out.
Yeah, all themes.
Yeah, if you've got any topics you'd like for us to discuss, definitely leave them as a comment and we can have a bit of a chat about our favorite songs in certain genres or styles or whatever you want to be.
Cool.
Thanks, everyone. Stay well. Bye.